Good afternoon. While we're waiting for everybody to join, we'll give a few seconds while the speaker is joining.
Progress.
We are here today from South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, and the UK. So if you're already in, just a few seconds before we start, we're waiting for more of the delegates to join. Good afternoon, Prof. Sunday Ojo. Good afternoon from our one colleague that traveled to Japan. Welcome. The webinar is being live streamed on YouTube. You can look into the chat if you want to share the link to colleagues. They're welcome to join and watch on YouTube. Good afternoon, Samad. Good afternoon, Bais. Good afternoon, Lebo Gang. Moritz. Welcome. Amos. Welcome from Liverpool. Great to see Nomazulu from Pretoria. Hello, Prof. Mogi. Welcome. Hello, Panagotius from Swansea University. Mubarak, welcome. I'm giving it a minute and then we're ready to start. May I please ask all the speakers, the British Council, and my colleagues from the Community of Practice to turn on their cameras. All right, it's 1:05 in South Africa, and a warm welcome to the Innovation for African Universities Communities of Practice regional webinar. This is our inaugural webinar as a Communities of Practice. So just to recap where the Innovation for African Universities Communities of Practice lie, it's a collaboration between universities in Kenya, Nigeria, Ghana, South Africa, and the UK. So welcome to all within this space, and I hope you will enjoy the lineup that we have in our discussion. The topics for today is focusing on innovation pathways. So we have a case study here that we will be speaking about innovation journeys through UK partnerships in sub-Saharan Africa. And we're going to tell a story of Tea at Sunrise, Reach PSM, and beyond. Just a brief lineup of the program. We have an hour and a half set aside where we will engage with our speakers. You will have time to drop questions or make contributions as part of the Community of Practice after the panel discussion. After the presentation and our engagements, we've got an activity on Kahoot, where we will make you play a game. And for the effort of engaging and being with the webinar, those that's been on the registration for today and participating in Kahoot will be issuing with a nice and shiny micro-credential, as you can see behind Mr. Soji in the background. I would like to introduce our Community of Practice Chair, Dr. David, and also Mr. Sam from the British Council. My other colleague, Mr. Saji from Nigeria, I will introduce him later as he handled the tech aspects, as well as our colleague Ernest, that is from Ghana. I want to give over to Dr. David as our Community of Practice Chair, please to just tell the delegates what the Community of Practice is and what we are hoping to achieve through the webinar. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Prof. Tia and colleagues for the first webinar we are having today for the regional network that we are hosting. And team online, the webinar space, you're most welcome to our inaugural Community of Practice regional webinar that we have. Now, as Prof. Tia says, our Community of Practice is anchored on very key principles. And as you are aware, we are running a Community of Practice within the Africa network. It's typically an Africa network. And the typical African network working with UK partners, we are simply driving change. And our change is very clear within the higher education institutions. I mean, every one of us here is aware we work for students within the higher education systems. And we work to explore best ways possible that they can be the best of what they can be. I know colleagues are here who are within the faculty frame or the faculty bench. Every one of us have a shared interest that how best can we make students be great in innovation? How can they be great in entrepreneurship? Now, this has been done quite a while. And the Community of Practice, the Innovation for African Universities Community of Practice was born from the projects that were done over time, where there were lots of testing, lots of piloting in terms of what is it that works in the higher education systems to make students be that of what they want to be in terms of innovation, be the best innovators, but also be able to develop their businesses. So the Innovation for African Universities Community of Practice is a network to harness this. We are trying to harness the best of practice. We are trying to put all in place on what it's going to make students have that ecosystem that they can be able to be innovators. So we expanded the network from South Africa, Kenya, Ghana, Nigeria, that network so that we are able to harness that resource for skill building, that resource for capacity development, but also just space for students to interact. Today, webinar is really one of its kind because we are putting in place the regional space for students to engage. I mean, we have quite experts here in the room who are going to engage with you. I mean, there are lots of insight they have. And Prof. Tia, as you say, this is what we're going to do for the longest of our time in the Community of Practice, really creating all the platforms, bringing all the experts so that students can be inspired to really be innovators, just build confidence. So in simple and in principle, we are creating a space to build the confidence for students. I work with my colleagues so that we are able to get this happening all the times, and then be able to, whether it's in Kenya, whether it's in South Africa, whether it's in Nigeria or Ghana, that space, that ecosystem is good enough for students to innovate what they need to be innovate so that they're able to develop the business that they're able to. So Prof. T, as you say, the inaugural regional webinar is simple space to really inspire students to this direction. So I call it all, guys, and Prof. Tia, thank you for putting this together, and we'll keep on working to inspire students in this direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Also would like to introduce Mr. Sam from the British Council. He is the director of the higher education space. And Sam, over to the British Council, if you introduce yourself and just a word from the British Council before we dig into the panel and their presentation.
Thank you so much, Prof. Thea. Very inspiring opening, Dr. David. Thank you so much. And thank you very much for organizing this event. I personally have been looking forward to it. My name is Sam Rameti. I am the head of higher education programs at the British Council in Sub-Saharan Africa. As some of you might know, that the British Council exists to build connections, understanding, and trust between the people of the UK and other countries. We do this through arts, culture, education, and the English language. And in each region where the British Council operates, our work is context informed. Within Sub-Saharan Africa, we know that we have a bulging youth population. Our youth is rapidly growing, and it's expected to double by 2050. Another reality of the region is that there are very few to no stable economic opportunities. We have very high rates of unemployment. And although there may be changes or differences across different countries in the region, largely this is the reality amongst many countries where we operate. The Innovation for African Universities project that we are here because of is really a platform which facilitates institutional partnerships between the United Kingdom and African higher education providers and entrepreneurship ecosystem entities. We do this in order to strengthen the role that higher education institutions can play within the African entrepreneurship ecosystem. Prof. Thea and the rest of the COP leadership, thank you very much. And I'm really looking forward to an engaging afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sam. And without further, the case study of this partnership and innovation, you would have seen it on the invitation, is Reach PSM. And you can see the panel got their cameras on. And as we go over, may I each ask for the panel members just to introduce yourself before you speak. So if I can ask Prof. Matthew Davis, who is the leader of the team, please introduce yourself. And as we go through the speaker list, before you get to your point, just introduce yourself and your part. And we're looking forward to learn from you. For the delegates, may I please ask, pop a question that you have for the team in the chat. We've got time to engage or any contribution that you would like to have on the topic. Prof. Matthew, over to you and your team. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Thea, and thank you very much for this very kind opportunity to talk about some of our work today. So I'm just going to load my slides. Hopefully everybody can see the slides in front of us.
Prof. Matthew, and introduce yourself.
Yes, I will. Of course.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Thank you, Thea. So I'm Professor Matthew Davis. I'm a professor in Swansea University in the UK. I'm also a UNESCO chair, and I hold a UNESCO chair in Sustainable Energy Technologies. And I'm the project lead for both Tea at Sunrise and Reach PSM that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today. And indeed, the panel is going to talk to you about these fantastic initiatives. So I'm very proud to be here to discuss our work, and I'm very proud to be joined by our panel of excellent collaborators and colleagues and friends that help deliver some of the ambition that we've set out to deliver. I wanted to pick up on a couple of things, if I may, first. So thank you to David for the very inspirational welcome. And I would echo that to students. I think students sometimes come into the university and higher education sector looking to change the world. And on occasion, they lose that a little bit through the system. Do not be ashamed to change the world. We should all set out to change the world around us. And we can do that at different degrees, of course. But we should never lose that ambition or shy away from that ambition. What I'm going to do then a little bit is talk about some of the background, and then I'll pass over to some of the other panel members to continue the story. So I'm going to talk about our drivers, really, for all of these projects. And much like Sam said, we know the challenges that lie ahead of us. How do we address some of the challenges of rising population, unemployment, energy access? We don't solve these problems through just technological advance.
We need to take a step back and build a new ecosystem and a new way of doing things. And I'm going to propose how we may be able to do that through next generation energy technologies. So first, just a little bit on collaborations. I was very fortunate over 15 years ago to travel to UKZN, and it was great to see Professor Biche Martinci online today, who's a great collaborator of mine. So I visited Biche first in 2009, and I've worked with UKZN ever since, and we've built a really strong partnership. That partnership has delivered papers and technical innovation, and that's great. It's also delivered real world advance, and we've done things like demonstrators and check the deployment of technology. We've also done lots of outreach work and what I would consider fun. So some years ago, we had an event called Catching the Light with the Rainbow Nation, where we managed to deliver outreach to school children across South Africa. Around 1,300 children attended these workshops in just 2 weeks. And I think that's an important thing to know about collaborations. They're built not just on technical expertise, of course, that's very important, but also on friendship, a shared vision, the same ethical approach, and ultimately friendship. And I'm very proud to have strong collaborators across the continent that I consider friends and colleagues. A little bit about Swansea and the specific IKC. So this webinar is also about lab to innovation. Something we've very much been keen on in Swansea is demonstrating innovation. So going from fundamental scientific advance in energy technology, but not just work in the lab, to building these buildings that you can see on the screen. Building these buildings that have integrated energy technology and demonstrating to people how well they work, where we may need to improve them and where we may need to advance. And that span of all of the TRLs, I think, is really important in innovation. So why next generation solar technology? So you'll all be aware of the energy issues that face the continent of Africa and the lack of energy access. We need to do things in a better way. So in the bottom right hand corner of the screen is some photovoltaic systems that I installed with the team in Chingola in Zambia. This is them a year after I installed them, and you can see the problems of dust that are there to be seen, but also the inverter on the right hand side. We found insects and wasps living inside the inverter. The batteries that were guaranteed for 4 years lasted only 10 months in these conditions. How do we do things better? We need technologies that are appropriately designed for use on the continent. We need technologies that are not going to be limited by critical raw materials, and we need to be able to print them at very low cost and develop distributed manufacturing. With that, we can build jobs, we can build potential end-of-life innovation. So can we train people that treat the waste of these systems at end of life, and not for it to go to waste, but can we make new solar panels from end-of-life solar panels? Can we make new battery technologies for end-of-life battery technologies? And that in essence is a circular economy, and that's what we're trying to ingrain in next generation PV. Also, existing technologies have ethical concerns. So forced labor in the supply chain and things like this that we can look to avoid by taking more local control of manufacture and democratize energy access. And I think this is where we come from. This is the building of the ecosystem. Can we manufacture next generation solar locally? Can we do it with very low cost equipment? Can we train the workforce? And can we, through this approach, deliver bespoke designs of photovoltaics that serve communities that seek to use them and that are appropriate for the local conditions? And in doing so, can we design them to avoid waste at end of life and the hazardous treatment of waste and the damage of people's health and the environment? So can we train the sector to deal with this end of life waste appropriately and in a safe manner that also drives job creation? For next generation solar, I'm not going to linger on this slide, but for printable photovoltaics that are next generation, we are already developing remanufacturing and recycling processes in the lab. We now need to transition this to large-scale modules, and that's where we're at. But we're very confident that we can recycle and remanufacture these devices efficiently. And also, of course, if we're going to look at the democratization and local production of PV technologies on the continent of Africa, we need to make sure the supply chains are there. And that's something that we need to develop. At the moment, the majority of materials and critical raw materials that are mined in Africa are then exported to be refined. How do we create and keep more of that value on the continent and build this ecosystem? And I think through this, to summarize my part, we can really enable a just energy transition. So what you're going to hear about now is how we look to develop locally manufactured PV supplies that can reduce the cost of solar expansion, that can improve energy access. And through Reach PSM, that you'll hear about shortly, we hope to deliver the first perovskite-based solar panel manufactured in Africa next year. And that's really exciting. And I hope you'll follow our journey in that regard. And with that, I will pass over to Anne, who is up next. Over to you, Anne.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Anne Wambugu. I work for Strathmore University, electrical engineer by profession. So I mostly work on electrification and electricity technologies. So as part of this project, there's 2 UNESCO chairs on the project. So there is the one led by Professor Davis, and there's the one led by Professor Da Silva in Strathmore. So UNESCO chairs are meant to advance research, training, program development. There's a lot that different UNESCO chairs around the world do. And for this specific ones, the next slide. So for this too, yeah, so the objectives are this. So there's a lot here, but in general, the objectives kind of intersect at circularity, sustainability, and innovation. So for us, it's mostly around electricity systems, and because it's a team of electrical engineers. And for Swansea, it's around chemical engineering, and I'm learning a lot actually working with them on that stuff. So I think everyone will get the presentation, so I'll let people read through this when they get that. Next slide. So the UNESCO chair at Strathmore, what we're very strong at is, number one, we do a lot of solar capacity building, specifically for diverse groups. So when I say diverse groups, is we've done training for women mostly. So far, our team has trained 600 to 800 women on solar photovoltaic systems. We also do training of, we try and target our training towards certain courses. So we've done trainings for biomedical engineers, because there's kind of specific things that you need to look at when you're doing healthcare training. So there's research and policy analysis. So the top photo is actually of a study that we're doing right now for the government on the grid. So that's looking at how reliability impacts appliance adoption. We're doing that study in Nairobi, but that's just a common theme in most of the work that we do. So for example, for Reach, I'll talk a bit about something called SunSafe and what we're doing with government in the next slide. But for now, yeah, so we do a lot of research and policy analysis. Government collaboration is very important for us. So we try and make sure that our research actually feeds into government policies, and also giving advisory services to the Kenyan government, especially for the energy regulator and the engineering side of energy, just to make sure that they're getting informed research to inform the policies in the country. All the work that we do, we make sure that it's community-centric, which means this means that we do a lot of data collection. So you'll find us in the field a lot, every now and then, trying to talk to communities, trying to figure out what problems they have with batteries, with solar panels, with charge controllers, with inverters, and everything in a solar system. But at the same time, also just, as you've heard, also on the grid, like the national grid, try and see what problems they have with that. And lastly, the most important thing actually in our team is gender inclusivity. So in all the work that we do, we always make sure that there's a gender element So especially for the electrical engineer technologies that we are working with, we try and see who's using them. And I like saying one of the things that it's very important that people do notice is if you give, for example, a solar panel to a solar system to a household, the first solar systems that get installed will be, if you give one bulb, the bulb goes where the man sits in the evening. If you give 2 bulbs, maybe the kitchen gets considered. If you give 3 bulbs, then the kids get considered. So there's hierarchies in energy provision, and it's very important that we take those into account when we're providing technologies or when you're designing technologies on our end. So on the right, there's also like 2 reports that we've worked on. If you want to find those reports, I have a website, my first name, second name.com will get you to my website where you'll find those reports. Next slide. So this is what we are majorly working on right now. It's called SunSafe. So SunSafe is a result. I don't know how many of you will be familiar with the problem of solar sizing, like people put together, if you go to rural communities, especially, people put together solar systems based off of, they buy a solar panel here. And I think a lot of people do DIY. You buy a solar panel here, you buy a battery here, try and put them together, but there's a configuration. Solar systems are electrical, small electrical power systems. So there's a configuration that you should put a power system in, and a lot of times people do not know how to do that. So we're trying to develop an Android app that will help technicians, and these are informal technicians, there's also formal technicians. So there's an entire ecosystem of different people to size products and check for component compatibility. So you check if your battery is suitable for the solar panel that you've put, if your charge controller is suitable for the solar panel, and such and such. So the aim is to improve safety, reliability, and customer satisfaction. So we've been working with communities, technicians, retailers to try and design this specific tool. It's designed mostly for off-grid locations. For on-grid locations, we're looking to add battery energy storage systems, but that's a whole different component because that's on-grid, and there's different considerations there. And then we seek to reach especially the informal electrical sector because they're the ones who are mostly found in rural communities. There's an element of QR codes. If you go to my website or if you go to that link there, you should be able to find more details on how SunSafe operates. So far, we don't have the app on the App Store, but it should be there in the next 3-4 months. So what is SunSafe doing for Reach? So I think Reach will be introduced a bit later. You should get like a feel of what Reach will be doing, but the major thing is that there's perovskite solar panels that will be produced through the project. So we're providing a platform for integration of perovskite solar into the Kenyan ecosystem. So someone should be able to select perovskite instead of silicon solar cells on the platform when they're available. There's also gender inclusivity work. So we'll be integrating that with the Reach ecosystem to try and make sure that whatever panels we produce are gender inclusive. It means a lot of things. It can mean please consider women that are short. There's a lot of things. I'm also waiting to see how we'll be able to embed that. Then there's capacity building through technician training. We do a lot of this. Like I've said, this is like our core work. And then there's community empowerment and workforce development, which is something that we extensively do. Like we said, we work with different communities to develop different technologies, SunSafe being one of them. So we'll do the same for Reach. And I'm heavily involved in solar standardization. My co-founder is in the UK, heavily involved in solar standardization. So it's also something that we'll be working on specifically for Reach. So on the right, the photo there is the Reach, is the SunSafe Kenyan team. We had the launch meeting a few months ago. Yeah. I think that's my last slide, yes.
Hi, and I believe it's moving on to me. It's great to be here. I'm Carol Maddock, and I'm from Swansea University, along with Matthew and other colleagues. And I'm the lead on gender equality, disability and social inclusion at T. I'm also on the Reach project with Matthew and Anne and others. And first of all, though, I'm going to go back a little in time to the Sunrise project. And this is the Strategic University Network to Revolutionise International Solar Energy. So you can see it's a lot easier to say Sunrise. And this is a precursor project to both Tea at Sunrise and to REACH. So the core aim of the Sunrise project was to address global energy poverty by developing next generation solar technologies. And it had three main goals, which are here on the slide. First of all was about developing global collaborations, and this was a multidisciplinary collaboration across different disciplines, across different countries. Within academia, it had engineers, physicists, chemists, social scientists, of which I am one, and also business, industry, and non-governmental partners. It was also about growing capabilities, and that was about growing the research and delivery capabilities of partners through research exchange, training, workshops, conference, etc. Knowledge, skills, excuse me, knowledge and skills transfer was a key part of the project, as was developing early career researchers, making sure that the skills and opportunities were available for the next generation of researchers and business and industry, as well as the technologies. And also finally there, but also most important from my perspective, was about the building sustainable communities. And if I can have the next slide, please. So Sunrise was fundamentally a technical project, and it was focused, as I said, on advancing next-gen solar PV technologies and sustainable energy systems. But it is vital that the state-of-the-art technology is applicable to real-life contexts. And we need to ensure that the global science is applied to benefit local communities and industries. So next generation solar must be socially acceptable, culturally relevant, context specific, and equitably distributed. So to do that, inclusivity is not an add-on. It is essential to ensure that technology does not replicate existing problems in a new energy space, or even exacerbate burdens, particularly for women, and also the marginalised populations, so those who are consistently overlooked in terms of contributing to important conversations, and those who are perhaps excluded from the decision-making processes that really impact on lives and livelihoods. So one of the ways that we try to ensure greater community participation was by using art-based approaches. And if I can have the next slide, please, again. So I'm not going to go into the approaches in a great deal of detail, but I'm more than happy to cover that if people want to speak to me afterwards. And these are also on our Sunrise website if you want to get a bit more detail about what we actually did. But we work with approaches such as participatory arts, and this ensures better community participation in the activities that we are planning. And we found that participatory arts have a greater potential to achieve meaningful involvement within communities and within diverse communities and across broad ranges of groups and individuals and communities. Arts-based methods can maximise inclusivity, and they can overcome potential obstacles to communication, such as language barriers, illiteracy, etc. And the idea of these approaches is to really get a closer understanding of the community's capabilities, their needs, and some of the things that there might be issues, but basically from their perspective and taking into account the local context and people's experience and knowledge from the community that you're about to hopefully introduce new initiatives. But if I can have the next slide, please. And again, I'm not going to go into this in a great deal of detail, but this was something we went back to the community after the project ended. We actually managed to secure additional funding to be able to do this. And this is something that's often quite rare. You often complete a project and then you're gone, done and dusted. But this was going back to the community really to understand what was the sense of development, how things were working, is there a sense of ownership and management? And really, I'd like to see, my point around this one is that I'd really like to see more of this happening. And if I go on to the next slide, and this, I really like this slide. I think it's very messy, but it also takes the reality, I think, of working in communities to really understand the needs over time. So it gives that timeline of when the project was awarded funding from the Global Challenge Research Fund and the UKRI. So that was quite early on in 2018. The funding ended in the end of 22-23, but we managed to do some additional project work beyond that. But as you can see, we're taking the community along with us. There's a whole lot of the technology being installed and the building being constructed, but in the meantime we've also got the reality of drought and monsoon and community interactions, so that's important too. So go on to the next slide. So now we're moving on to transforming energy access, Tea at Sunrise, and this is an Ayrton funded project which builds on the success, really, and the achievements of Sunrise. And what Tea at Sunrise aims to do is to demonstrate how decentralised, locally manufactured solar PV solutions can unlock affordable, reliable and low-carbon energy in ODA-eligible countries. I didn't say really, Sunrise was mainly India, but also Kazakhstan and Mexico, and now we're broadening out to a whole range of other countries, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia and the Indo-Pacific. So, as I said, we're hopefully bringing production closer to the point of use. And the idea is that these initiatives will reduce supply chain dependencies, cut emissions, create local jobs, address both economic and climate goals. So through the growing international network, we aim to accelerate next generation solar innovation, but most importantly, making sure that's inclusive energy access across the continents and countries that were involved, and directly contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals, in particular SDG 7 and 13, but more besides. And then my next slide. This is really going into looking at what we've been achieving so far with Tea at Sunrise. And I think even as we started out the conversation today, we were increasing the numbers of who are on the network. So we're at about 210 members from 20 countries. The image on the right with the actually taken from our website, and it's an interactive map of the people and the countries that are involved in the network so far. And the picture at the bottom is our first symposium that was in Durban earlier this year, and we had over 40 members of our network attending that, and we're hoping for a greater number at our next one. We've had a leadership group for the Ayrton Challenge has been established, and that provides strategic guidance, coordination, and a space to identify thematic, geographic and funding gaps. It supports the joined-up action across Tea and wider partnerships to maximise impact and inform UK government decision-making. Some of the other exciting things that we've got going as part of the network, we've got a brilliant communication strategy and lead on that, and that's developing regular blogs, webinars, interviews, and it's hopefully trying to make these connections between all of these members within our network and looking at potential collaborations for the future. Also, as I said, my particular area is gender equality, disability and social inclusion. And again, as I said, this underpins all of our activities, and it's not an add-on. We've got surveys underway about solar use and needs, and also knowledge exchange with Professor Uguze of Futo in Nigeria, and we will be hearing, I think, hopefully from one of his colleagues who is with us in Swansea at the moment. And I believe that's me. So thank you for that whistle-stop tour.
Just one more, sorry, Carol.
Sorry, no, sorry. Matthew did say he was going to add a slide that wasn't going to throw me, and it did. But no, so this is how you can find out more about joining the network at Tea at Sunrise. And also, we've just established a Women in Solar Energy, which is a safe, informal space to connect. Recognising actually that women are underrepresented and are not necessarily taking the jobs and roles that they are qualified to do so. So that's just a little summary of what I've covered, and hopefully we can people can connect to the network from there. So while I'm dithering, you can you can look at those links. Thank you.
Okay, I guess.
Oh, sorry. Over to Jiska.
Thank you very much, Carol. And indeed, it is over to me now. So my name is Jiska de Groot, and I work with the University of Cape Town, where I lead a network called the T Learning Partnership, which is also part of that Transforming Energy Access program. And we are also a member of T at Sunrise and Reach PSM. So I think I just wanted to start with this very brief slide to just show you that, and then bring back this thread really that we're talking about, is that yes, we are talking about technology, we're talking about innovation, but really what brings all of this together is the humans and the organizations in those networks. And I'll be talking about that a little bit further through my slides. And can I get the next slide, Matthew? And yeah, so the first one is sort of moving through the stream of different initiatives that some of them may be new, some of them you may be familiar with, but I would really sort of like take us through the T Learning Partnership to the Reach PSM project. And yeah, so it's all about bringing together these partnerships for research and capacity enhancement. And really what is important there is that focus on long-term partnership of equals to drive next-gen solar, but also any other energy access related activities from multiple angles. And what is really important here, I think, is that they move beyond sort of this basic focus on, oh, here's a project, here's another project, but that we're all keeping to see this as a continuation of work that we are already doing. And whenever new projects come in, they are adopted into that more longer term approach. And the first thing I'd like to talk about is the Transforming Energy Access Learning Partnership. So for those of you that are interested, please have a look at our website or join our LinkedIn page, maybe even join our newsletter. But yeah, so the map on the right, as a good geographer by background, I always like to put a map in there where you can see the spread of our different universities across the globe that are members. And can I get the next slide from you, Matthew? Yeah, so who are we? So the Transforming Energy Access Learning Partnership was really born out of this need for a long-term capacity enhancement at the local level in Sub-Saharan Africa, South Asia, and the Indo-Pacific. And as part of that, we have three key work streams. And the first one is to work with universities to make sure that the curriculum that is being developed and being delivered is appropriate and really fosters that innovation, fosters this group of individuals that are workplace ready. Because one of the key gaps that we found in our scoping study is that there sometimes is a gap between what universities offer and the skills that they're being taught there and what a very fast growing energy access sector needs. Similarly, we found that a lot of people that are already working in the sector are really keen to keep studying, keeping up with the times and learning about all of these new technologies, new approaches that are happening worldwide. And then thirdly is that there was this strong need for this network of Southern expertise where we celebrate and promote all the fantastic expertise that we have on multiple continents and feed that into the sometimes quite northern focused energy access activities. So yeah, we are this partnership of African, South Asian and Indo-Pacific universities and other stakeholders. We have over 32 members at the moment, and we are committed to ensure that a high quality workforce to drive this transition towards sustainable energy access for all. And yeah, as you notice, we work predominantly at the university level through master's and CPD courses. And increasingly, we are looking for angles to also involve the students in that activity rather than a focus on the trainers and the universities itself. Can I get the next slide, please? Then this is just a very, very quick snapshot of what it is that that our successes to date, and well, it's a little bit outdated because it's already August, but so we have over 32 universities now, about 800 master students enrolled, 3 master's courses developed, and also 3 continued professional development courses developed, including on integrated energy systems, data energy analytics, and a very successful program called Future Female Leaders in Energy, which works with young, promising people working in the sector to develop their leadership skills and their energy access skills. As part of the network, we now have over 4,000 followers, have a series of newsletters, website posts, and we also support the attendance of networking events, the hosting of them. And we recently starting a rolling fund where our members can apply for very small pots of funding, like a type of seed funding, so they can host small events, they can attend events that are relevant for them. And through that, we really try to increase the visibility of our energy access experts across the globe. Can I get the next slide? So yeah, you ask now, how does Reach PSM and how does this all fit together? And so the main reason I think that we all came together and Reach PSM was proposed is that through this Transforming Energy Access program, through the network, several of our network members, including Futo, Strathmore, and Kijani Testing, we've all been connected in multiple ways, and through that the Reach PSM was born, which is a project that focuses on resilient renewable energy access through community-driven holistic development in perovskite solar module manufacturing. Well, that's quite a mouthful. So let me try and break that down a little bit in the next 2 minutes. So firstly, our objectives are technology transfer of low-cost manufacturing of perovskite photovoltaic materials and modules with partners in Africa, but also the development of novel components for PPV devices, and mostly with that focus to enable local manufacture and improve sustainability. Then that circular economy, the supply chain aspects of it, so identify domestic green supply chain for next generation solar technologies, and then finally to work towards developing novel, locally owned, sustainable business models and market-specific products designed for end-of-life reuse and manufacturing with circular economy principles. So what is really important, and can I please get the next slide from you, Matthew, for that, is that you'll see that this technology, this quite heavily technology innovation project doesn't just stay there, and it gives us an opportunity to, in this next-gen solar, implement what we've learned in decades of technology innovation and development. And that is that new technologies must be much more than just being technologically feasible. They need to be environmentally sound. They need to be locally economically beneficial, socially desirable, locally appropriate, and inclusive. And that's why, like, our whole team of experts from a whole range of different backgrounds is coming together to drive this as a team. Can I get the next slide, please? And yeah, I thought, let me just go out with a really big cliche here, and that is really that move beyond us looking at different projects, but really have this long-term perspective in mind. And really the only way we're going to get there is that if we keep collaborating, if we keep seeking out each other to work together, to innovate, to build skills, and to look outside the box. Thank you very much, and over to the next speaker. Kenya, I think, is next.
So it should be over to Karen. Karen, are you online? Sorry, I can't see everybody because I'm sharing my screen. Karen, are you there?
Yes. Hi, Matthew. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Over to you.
Great. Thank you. Sorry, I'm unable to turn on my camera at this time. On the road. So my name is Karen Atieno. I work for Kijani Testing Limited. While at it, I am the lead team leader laboratory and also product development. Kijani Testing is based in Kenya, and we offer product testing solutions for solar products, that is lab testing, and also field testing. So involving as early stage as the ideation stage, prototype testing stage, market launch, market testing, as well as end of life, that is offering appliances second life. Up to date, Kijani has worked with different brands, that is up to 21, and within Kenya, we have more than 200 test sites where different products are being tested, or rather are being monitored to understand the end user feedback of those products. Next slide, please. So our testing is in two categories. There is the element of lab testing, where products are exposed to controlled conditions, just to check if they perform as stipulated by the innovator or even the product owner. And there is the other element of field testing. And so field testing is where we expose the product to end users, just to see how they interact with the product, how the product is likely to perform differently from how it's performing within the lab setup. And so among the reasons why we advocate for testing is that during testing, especially the field test, is we are able to get end user feedback, because more often than ever, you realize that a solar product would perform differently within controlled settings, and it also perform differently when exposed to the user setting where it's really uncontrolled. And therefore, gathering feedback for improvement of prototypes is one reason why we should test. And also within this time, we also identify the areas within a product that need enhancement. And so it goes into iterating the design of the product. And as I mentioned, I'm not sure if I mentioned, our lab is based in Kisumu, Kenya, and also there is one in Nairobi. We are compliant with ISO 9001 and also ISO 17025 for lab practices. And so the product development stages, the phase one is the ideation phase, where someone just has an idea of something they think they can make into a product that can actually change life. And so once we have that, we validate the feasibility of this idea and see if it can actually become a potential product concept. And then the next phase is where there is the design. So the first two phases, usually we work hand in hand with the innovators or the individuals in building up this product. So the second stage is design and development stage, where now the product is assembled. We assess it to check the various functionality elements, their performance, and also their compliance under the standardized lab conditions. The next phase is where now we subject them to testing as per the test protocols, the various test procedures that are test methods that are available, the ISO IEC test methods, to just see if the products are actually going to perform as required. Now, during prototype validation is now where we take the product to the end user, and we allow the end user to interact with the product for a period of time while we gather feedback, we gather areas of improvement. We also observe how easy it is for them to actually interact with the product. And the most important thing is, of what value would this product be to an end user? Once the prototype validation is done, then we go to pre-launch stage, or rather the marketing stage, because the end goal is to have all these things within the market where people can actually access them, and also at the prices that are within the market cap that is available for the respective markets. And so in this stage, we still engage with the end users to confirm that if the said product is to be sold to them, at what prices would they buy it with? At what prices would they buy it for? And is there actually a demand for this product? So once we ascertain that there is demand, then now it goes to the post-launch stage, where now we validate the performance with the end user. They have bought it, probably the very early stage products, the very first versions of the product, checking on the performance, checking on the safety, and also the compliance. And also there is the last stage where now the product is out there in the market. We monitor its stability in the market, its reliability, but alongside what we do is we usually offer technical support for this product. And so after market testing is done and probably the warranty period is over, so Kijani also comes in to offer what we call technical support, so giving the appliances a second or even a third life where possible. Next slide, please. So this is just some of the stats of what the solar market looks like. How from the numbers we can see how many are relying on the product, and of interest is the number of products that have been that are verified, or rather that have been validated from tests, or even that have been certified by affiliated bodies that do certification. And you can see that quite a number are not verified products, but they exist within our market space. And so this creates a huge gap or a huge opportunity for us to correlate between the innovators and the various institutions, just to ensure that whatever items that we intend to innovate or bring into different markets have been verified, certified, and realize that the products that are not certified are usually 2 to 3 times cheaper than the verified product. Next slide, please. And so the impact of testing, as we said, is that it will identify early flaws of the product and also align with customer needs, because usually what an innovator would have in mind is occasionally different from what an end user would want to use the product for. And so when we identify these flaws, the product is able to be tailored to best fit the end user need. Controlled testing is now, we assess its reliability and compliance to reduce the failures that may occur. Then the real world testing, where we check at the unpredictable scenarios. What is the worst case stress that a product can endure, or to what extent of usage can this product actually endure before maybe the first breakdown, or which parts actually break down. Independent testing adds credibility to your product, even when you're seeking for funding, because elements that are usually looked at is the product performance, the product safety, and also the quality of the product. And so as we continue to innovate, what happens is there is a continued testing of the product that comes, that goes on until it gets to its final, sort of a final stage that it can actually be sold. Next slide. So this is a sample case study of a product. We have different sites. So this is a water pumping, submersible water pump that we have deployed in different sites, 30 sites. And for this, within Western Kenya for a period of 12 months. And for this, we wanted to understand how the IoT integrates with testing, and how does IoT actually make testing easier for products that are usually within a rural setting, and also trying to understand, are users actually really interested in the IoT element, or they're actually not interested, so much so that it's just an additional feature, maybe for data collection, but it's not of an ideal importance to the end user. And so alongside that, we also checked what is it that users actually look into before buying the product. And so we went across the board to check of the different genders. What do men look into? What do women look into? And so when you find time, you can go through them. These are some of the things that we actually came up with. Next slide. So this is a case example. I said at the end of the product, we usually do market analysis and also do what we call technical support. And so this is another case study where we interacted with 76 off-grid appliance suppliers to just check where their products are in the market, how they're performing, how they're breaking down. And one interesting thing we realized is that 43% of within this case study in Kakuma, that is the northern part of Kenya, 43% of them actually do not offer warranty terms or technical support services to the end users. And so you realize for a case like northern part of Kenya, most people shy away from buying this product because of warranty and also lack of technical support. And usually most of them are just salespeople. They're not actually the technicians. And so what they do is they push the product into the market to be sold, but there is no aftermath of what happens when the product fails. And so, yeah, this is a bit of it, and we can look at it later. Next slide. Some with testing, there is quite a bit of challenges. One of them is availability of data. One thing is that for every product that we obtain, because innovation is a compilation of different parts of things, different systems, and so we always have to go online or go into publications that are there that are relevant to these particular products. And more often than ever, there is very little data that is available within those spaces of research, but also in terms of end users also do not really have a lot of information of certain products. The other thing is standards. In as much as the ISO and IEC standards are out there, they usually just sort of offer a guide of what parameters needs to be looked into when we are testing products, or within what bandwidth should certain parameters perform, but essentially there are no cut-out standards. And so from time to time, we end up coming up with standards alongside other partners like Verasol and a class. Yeah. And the same goes for quality verification. Then, as we said, the number of products that have been tested in the market are quite few, but also the interesting part is that the innovators are not as much interested in doing, especially the field testing. Most are interested in just pushing the sales out of the into the market, but not very keen on testing, while testing in itself can actually form a very huge basis of product authenticity within that market. Also, there is, in terms of testing and product validation, there is lack of awareness from the consumer side, where you realize that most factors that are influence their purchase is nothing related to maybe quality or products that have been validated. And the same goes for stakeholders, and the same goes for funders, where funders look for cheaper products because cheaper products will have a higher penetration into the markets than more expensive products that would have actually resulted from the elements of testing. Yeah. Next slide. Yeah, I think that's it from me. I'd like to welcome the next presenter. Thank you.
Hello. Yeah, my name is John Anyam. I'm the laboratory coordinator at the African Center of Excellence in Future Energies and Electrochemical Systems, domiciled in the Federal University of Technology, Owerri. I'm also a exchange student here in Swansea. So I've been in Swansea for the past 3 weeks, learning perovskites. So briefly, the African Center of Excellence in Future Energies and Electrochemical Systems was primarily set up to fill a growing education, skills, information gap in the field of renewable and other clean energy sources within the sub-region. And in this way, address the regional development challenge of poor availability and access to energy. So its main aim is not just about teaching students, it's about igniting a generation who will create Africa's energy future and not just consume someone else's own. Okay, so ACEFAS is, one of the objectives is to develop a critical mass of R&D professionals in clean and electrochemical energy. Next slide, please. So behind every breakthrough in solar panel manufacturing or sustainable energy design lies a human journey. So Futo's involvement in rich PSM offers transformative experience for students and researchers alike. One of those experiences is being an international exchange student in Swansea. So I'm here to talk more about my experience, in particular the benefits of this exchange program. So one of them is our list number one, specialized facilities. So here in Swansea, as an exchange student, I have access to specialized facilities, like facilities that we don't have access to in Futo and also in Nigeria in particular. So then there's also opportunity for me to shadow and work with experienced professionals in perovskite manufacturing. So I've been here and I've been seeing researchers, top-notch researchers working on their products and trying to provide novel solutions to the issues affecting perovskites in terms of performance efficiency and stability. Also, there's also opportunity for me to mentored by top-notch researchers. For example, I was overwhelmed the first time I met Professor Matthews and Professor Tristan. These are only people I read their papers, maybe in Nature. So it was a big opportunity for me to meet them and for me to get some inputs about my work and about perovskites in general. So aside that, there is also this environment of multicultural students. So this has helped to improve my ideas and give me new perspective on how research is being done, like in a proper way, and how to dissect problems. We all know perovskites have different problems. That is why it has been an issue in terms of commercialization. So this experience here today has given me different ideas on how to tackle some of these problems, and which is one of the main issues why I'm here, because we are trying to produce the first perovskites in Africa. Yeah. So another thing about this, another benefit is networking opportunities. So I've had opportunities to meet other industry experts in Swansea, something I've never thought about doing before. So, but this exchange experience has given me the time and the opportunity to meet real partners, people that work in the field. So next slide, please.
Yeah, I can take it from here, John, if that's okay. Unless there's anything else. Yeah, please.
Just wanted to end that knowledge, when siloed, is stagnant, but when shared across borders, disciplines, and generations, it becomes a force multiplier. So the International Exchange Program is not just a knowledge transfer program for me and for ACE Force, but it's a co-creation of a legacy that will last till eternity. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much, John, and very well summed up at the end. So I think we've taken enough time, so we're just going to summarize very quickly. I think you've got an excellent flavor from my fantastic colleagues and collaborators, how much we're trying to ingrain all of these important things into technical advance. So thinking about communities, and how we build an ecosystem that really delivers change and much needed change. So it's the idea that we don't react to problems, but we set out in a holistic approach to embed sustainability, to embed inclusivity, and to look at how we best do that. One of the key things there is working together, as John said, as others have said, that together we really need collaboration and innovation to meet the problems that we face. And I think a lot of that needs to be based on shared values, trust, transparency, equal partnerships, and really shared ethical drive to make a big change in the world, and to look at how we create everything that's needed to to create the change we want. That's working with academics, industry, governments, communities, everybody to really deliver maximum impact for the project. So I'd just like to say thank you to everybody again. Thank you to all of the panelists. Thank you to Thea, the British Council and the IAU for this kind invitation. And thank you very much for listening. And we're happy to discuss and take any questions as you see fit. So thank you very much. I'll stop there.
Thank you very much to the team of Reach PSM. And we set out today to learn about innovation pathways, how to take it from the classroom to the lab, to thesis, to the market, taking what we do at the university level and bring it to the market. And here we learned today of a team that's out there breaking the grounds within our network partnership. So thank you so much. And thank you for the case study of showing the value of the network partnership. I'm going to open and ask for the delegates. We had close to 200 at a point, and I think as it hits just after lunchtime, some needed to leave. Any questions specifically for our panel about the topics of forming partnerships, or how to create something from an idea to concept to market or testing? We've got a question for Dr. Carol. How can our university participate in the arts-based project? I'm based in University of Witwatersrand.
Oh, right, brilliant. Okay, well, I'd be very keen to hear what you're trying to do via the arts-based processes. I mean, that was specifically a project that we were doing within India, using those approaches, but we have lots to learn. I've used arts-based approaches in other projects as well. I'd be keen to know quite what you're aiming to do and who you're aiming to do it with, and definitely would like to get in contact to see what you would like to achieve and what approaches you'd like to use. So at the moment I'm constrained by, we're not actually at the stage at the moment with T or with Reach, but we're hoping that we can carry on with those sorts of projects. But it is definitely about when you're working in communities and different approaches, and I can certainly share more details about that. There's more details already on the Sunrise website about the particular approaches that we used in KwaZulu-Natal in India. But yeah, I'd be very happy to get in touch if I can share my details. I'll put my email in the chat.
Thank you so much. We have seen various informations to join the networks within the webinar chat, and we will share it post-event with everybody that registered. A question from Lebogang. Does the T Sunrise Network work with TVET's institutes over and above universities? Great work, guys. Congrats to all.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer that, Thea. So absolutely, we recognise the value of vocational training, and that's very much part of building an ecosystem that can deliver next generation solar technologies. That's really key. If you're interested in working, reach out through the network. I should say to everybody, we are open for collaboration. I think one key thing about long-term collaboration, funding comes and goes. It's about working in the difficult times where there's not so much funding available, keeping those links and keeping progressing, the building of those relationships is really key. It's not just about the funding, but being ready for the funding opportunities when they come. So I think we absolutely recognise the value of vocational training. The work they're doing in Strathmore is excellent as well on training and things like that. So please reach out if we can help, and very much welcome to join the network, and we can discuss how best to engage.
Thank you so much. Question to Anne. Are there any programs that can be offered to pre-service teachers, BEd level, on renewable energy technologies with the main focus on solar?
With respect to programs in terms of training, yes. We do have training courses on solar. So far, the issue is we do it in Kenya. So we do get funding to do it for free, but we do it mostly in Kenya because of, logistics. But I guess, yeah, but there is, yes, there is.
Okay.
And we
Thank
actually,
you so much.
Just a comment on the TVETs. We actually do work specifically for Strathmore. We work extensively with TVETs to try and get them the capacities they need. Like right now, one of the things that we'll be launching is related to electric mobility training for TVETs.
And while we have Dr. Anne in here, can I ask everybody to just please join in the emojis to congratulate Dr. Anne on her birthday today. She's presenting to us, and happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Question. Anyone who can answer this, how can one get engaged in exchange programs?
I'm happy to say, of course, for exchanges, ultimately we need money, of course, but Swansea is open, and we're open to help with funding applications and things like that as well. So if you're interested in exchanges with Swansea, please do reach out. We need to look for the right mechanism to get funding. But for example, I do a lot of work with the Royal Society of Chemistry. They have collaboration grants that are open. There's opportunities through the British Council, through the Royal Society, all of the professional bodies. So we really value these exchanges. Also, there's opportunity that if you're near some of our partners, that when we visit and we run workshops and talks and things like that, they will be open to all. So please feel free to join. And I think being part of the network, you'll get to hear about some of those opportunities.
Thank you so much. Beatrice, we recognize your note about Nile-based energy and the research project on blue economy and livestock change in the coastal parts of Kenya. So you can see the links in the chat where you can reach out. But I think after about an hour of talking, our Innovation for African Universities Nigerian Country League, Mr. Soji, prepared a game on Kahoot for all of us to participate in. Soji, are you available and ready? And he just confirmed. Soji, you've been waiting to launch the game. Okay, Soji, are you here? Our colleague from Nigeria. Thank you so much. We are ready for the activity. So let me tell how we're going to do. If you participate in the activity and stay to the end, we will share the link or we will share information to all the delegates, and you will be issued with a micro credential for the participation. So Sergi, over to you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Please confirm that you can hear me, please.
Yes.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to do the game exercise as quick as possible. So I'm going to share my screen shortly. Let me share my screen. So, see, and then here you go. That is the game pin. That is the game pin. Log into kahoot.it, and then you trigger in that 265246 on your mobile phone, on your browser. Log into kahoot.it. We want to appreciate everyone for log into kahoot.it. Yeah, thank you, MLD. Let's do it. Let's do it together. Kahoot.it. Thank you, FI. Thank you, Kelechuko, Pamos. Thank you. Yeah, let's keep coming. Kahoot.it. Then you use this GIMP 265246. Yeah, Kahoot.it. Let me trigger it on this chat again and again. Kahoot.it. Kahoot.it is a link. Kahoot.it is a link. Kahoot.it is a link. Yeah, we're about to start the game. 30 more seconds to start the game. 30 more seconds. Let's keep coming. Let's keep coming. Let's keep coming. Great. Let's keep coming. 30 more minutes to start the game. 30 more seconds or 20. So we have 10 seconds to start the game. Kahoot.it. Then you sign in with your name. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for everyone joining from Nigeria, for everyone joining from Ghana, from Kenya, from South Africa, from the UK, and those other stakeholders who are joining outside the network countries. We want to appreciate you for joining today's session. Kahoot.it, then you trigger in the green pin, and then here we go. So we have just 30 seconds to go. 30 seconds to go. The game pin again is 265246. 1 second to go. Okay, they said I should accommodate more people. Yes, they said I should accommodate more people. I should give you 5 more seconds. 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want the number to get to 60. We are 58 currently. Let's get to 50. We are above 150 on this call. We're above 160 on this call. So we can do up to 60. Yeah. Who want to join again? Here we go. Kahoot.it. So those who are not here, who are not currently on the platform, you can join later. The pin is 265246. The pin again is 265246. You can let me put it on the chat. I will appreciate 265246. That is the game pin. And here we go. Yeah. Yep. The fastest finger. The fastest finger. The fastest finger. According to the, yeah, the fastest finger. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Rufus. We're making progress. The next question. Product development stage. Let's arrange them. Let's arrange them according to their order. That is coming from the second to the last speaker. Product development stages. What is the first thing, the second thing? So arrange them in their, in ascending order from the start to the last, from the first stage. Thank you. We move on. Oh, Professor Mimi, thank you. We move on to the next question. What is the full meaning of IAUCOP? IAUCOP. Pick the right answer. IAUCOP. IAUCOP. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Most everybody got it. Keep. Thank you. We move on to the next question. What is the main goal of the UNESCO Chair in Sustainable Energy Technologies? According to the speaker, the main goal. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Kip. We move on to the next one. Yeah. The goal of the British Council going global is dash and dash. Pick the two best answer. Pick the two best answer. Pick the two best answer. Yeah. 5 people got it correctly. Correct, Mimi, Professor Mimi, thank you. The next one. Arrange. You have 20 seconds to do this. 20 seconds to do this. 20 seconds to do this. Arrange in their order, in their best order. You have 20 seconds to arrange this. 12 more seconds to go. 10 seconds to go. 7 seconds to go. Arrange them in their best order. 1 more second to go. Here we go. Thank you. Next one. Oh, who is leading? Oh, brilliant. Thank you. Let's move to the next one. This is a quiz. We have just 4 more questions to go. Which of the following are benefit of locally manufactured solar PV panel? Top 3 answers. The benefit. Top 3 answers. The fastest finger. Okay, so we move on to the next question. And we have 3 more questions to go. According to the presentation today, the fastest finger, brilliant. Yeah, 40 people got it correctly. Thank you, Professor Georgia, you are doing well. The next person, true or false? True or false? This is just true or false. Read the question again, and then take the answer either true or false. Yeah. The fastest finger, brilliant. Yeah, 46 people got it correctly. Oh, that means we are really paying attention in this class correctly. Let's do it. The second to the last question. Multiple selection. Multiple selection. The most important factor of building strong. Yeah. Multiple selection. The top 3. Select the top 3. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what you mean? And here is the last question. Multi-selection. 20 seconds to go on this. 20 seconds to go. Take the countries. 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds, 5 seconds. The countries that are under the IU. Oh, and let's see, let's check our board. Let's check our board. The podium, who are the top 3 winners? Oh, Professor Mimi, thank you. Yeah, Professor Georgia, thank you. And the winner. Oh, congratulations, 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 congratulations. And so the regional leaders, they will reach out to the top 3 winners of this challenge, and you got a souvenir on behalf of the IUCOP regional leaders in your respective countries. So expect a call from the regional leaders for your special souvenir on behalf of the British Council IUCOP regional leaders. Thank you again for having me, and see you. Bye-bye.
Georgie, you an absolute star. This was so much fun. Thank you, everybody, for staying to almost the very end. Thank you for joining us today on the inaugural Innovation for African University Communities of Practice webinar. Team Reach PSM, what a learning curve. Amazing work that's being done, and opportunities overall to get involved. Can I ask lastly two words from our Community of Practice Chair, Dr. David, and the last words I will give to the British Council.
Prof. Tia, you just got me really overexcited, because this is really amazing. Over 160 plus in attendance, really amazing number. I mean, Prof. Tia, a lot of work. So, I mean, the network is live, the network is strong, and I really have to congratulate everyone else who spent their time. Most people stayed on, and this really shows the kind of commitment that everybody has, from skill development to inspiring a community. So let's keep doing it, and then we're going to have the next Community of Practice coming up being hosted by another country, and we're going to keep this energy strong. The experts, you are in already. So please don't go anywhere. Keep on bringing that energy as part of the community. Thank you, Prof. Tia, for managing this.
Thank you so much, Dr. David. Sam, over to you and the British Council. Just before everybody goes out, may I ask all the speakers and the community of practice leaders just to stay behind for another group photo, please. Sam, over to you.
No, thank you, Prof. Thea, and thank you very much for the opportunity to see this great work being done. I think this is an example of transformative work that we can all do, and there's a lot of learning that I drew from the project. Inspiring words, Prof. Davis, that, you know, the funding comes and goes, but if the partnerships are strong enough, we should be able to achieve sustainable change in the communities that we serve. Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thank you very much, Prof.
What great words to carry us forward. Funding might come and go, but if the partnership is strong enough, these friendships will carry us through to continue with the good work. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. See you again very soon, and we will send the updates post-event to everybody via email, as well as the links for your micro credentials. Thank you for joining us. All right, PR is saying done. Thank you so much. Thank you, colleagues. Thank you for all the feedback that we received in the chat. Anything from anybody else?
Yes, I actually just want to say that, Soji, that was amazing. I think like you need to host a TV show. That was epic.
Soji, it said to me, thank you, try again later.
No, but Prof. Tia, I think we just identified a talent in Soji in the community.
No,
Therefore,
I wasn't nowhere.
Soji, we're gonna give you this job throughout. Every webinar we host, then the Kahoots.
I'm available for that. I'm available.
Mr. Chair, Soji has been practicing the entire week. He's been to pre-planning meetings. He's been to the meeting briefs. He had the slides of everybody. He had the photos of everybody. So this few minutes didn't just come.
But
really hard.
Soji
This
has
was good.
that energy, which is really something to appreciate in him. Yeah.
Yeah, no, amazing energy.
Folks, thank you so much. I think we're 10 minutes over, and the person that I really want to go and release to go and have a party is Anne, because it's her birthday. So thank you very much. And I want to say a huge thank you to our team at UKZN, Ms. Hazel Lange, Mr. Ndiwe Jumo, Ms. Koert Koning for handling the PR, setting up the webinar, helping with the photos. This is a huge thing to organize and to manage the live streaming. So thank you so much to UKZN, College of Law and Management Studies, Public Relations, for the effort and hard work that went in with all the links and queries and the live streaming. Thank you so much, Tandy and Koert and Hazel, to the team and your hard work. We really appreciate your effort.
You all.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks again, all. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah.